And we're live!
Together!
Together! This is just 2 of the 3, but the show is known as...
Just 3 Jobbers! First time,
baby.
First time being able to do it together. Pretty special.
Yeah.
Max and Dirty Kevin.
Dirty
in
Kev,
the same
we're here.
room.
This is my apartment. Sorry, this is random as hell. We got the twins behind us, and then we got some random artwork that I think my grandma made back in the day.
A decent background. I don't mind it.
I don't mind it either. I hope you guys can appreciate it with us, but we're just so excited to be back. This is kind of crazy to have Max here and actually here in the flesh.
We're coming to you Friday for the review of the Wednesday Night Wars this week, just because yesterday I was traveling most of the day to get here to Chicago. Here for the weekend to spend some time with Kevin, watch some wrestling, watch some movies. We started a movie podcast as well, Binge Brothers. Check it out.
Binge Brothers is
Max
part of J3
Podcast.
Sorry,
Network.
keep going.
Of course. No, yeah, it's part of the J3J Productions Entertainment Network, basically, is what we're calling it.
We're creating
We're
this.
forming it right now, but really fun podcast with our friend Alex Dean from Chicago as well.
Yep.
Talked about Michael Keaton as Batman, as well as the stage of the streaming wars, which WWE is a part of. We didn't mention that about their base of WWE Network, which was one of the earlier streaming networks to really grab that idea, which is interesting. 6 years it's been here, which is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, and one thing that's kind of nice. What's kind of nice too about this is, and this is I guess breaking news from just because of the success of, people telling us they love what we do, and we just want to get more content out there for people, and it's just kind of cool because it's really just a bunch of group of guys who just enjoy talking about wrestling, movies, whatever it may be, and we want to hopefully do even more with this too down the line. So we're gonna keep growing, keep doing things, but hey, we're gonna go to the thing that we kind of started with, which is
professional
kind of
wrestling,
and professional wrestling, baby.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about. We're talking about
NXT. Should we jump right into the wrestling shows, or should we maybe talk about the COVID situation with WWE? That's pretty big news.
Yeah.
Maybe talk about that for a few
Max,
minutes.
you want to start that one off?
Sure. So, a lot of things are still unknown, but it's been widely reported, not confirmed, but reported that up to at least 2 dozen, if not 3 or 4 dozen people in WWE have tested positive for COVID. A few people have come out. It has been Renee Young, Kayla Braxton, Adam Pearce, and Jamie Noble. So 2 producers and 2 interview talents have confirmed their positive tests. I think that there's a reason why they haven't said any wrestlers that have tested positive, which I know they've said people in wrestling, backstage, production, all sides of it have had positive tests. So they haven't. I think it's probably good they don't release the wrestlers that have it, but I think going forward, at least for the next 2 weeks, it's going to be pretty obvious which wrestlers may have it. If they're quickly pulled from a storyline, it might be pretty clear they tested positive. It's going to be a big turn here for WWE to see how they handle these tests, because there's one back in late March, early April, and since then there's not been a lot of talk about people having COVID inside WWE, but it's blowing up in Florida. It's going to be interesting how they move forward with this. Yeah,
and it's something to see. I guess it's. I don't know. I guess we're in the early stages of everything, so it's really difficult to kind of gauge everything as what we know. We don't really know very much. All I can say is we will keep everyone updated. And it's early stage because this is kind of wild because during this entire COVID-19 era of wrestling, we haven't really even worried or really truly thought of what if a bunch of them start getting it? What happens with that? Especially with them trying to move into doing...
Do they announce a hiatus? I mean, a lot of people think they still should have. I doubt they will too, but it might have been good for 2 months to let these guys off, let them quarantine, and it would have brought some excitement to wrestling when it came back, at least, if they had done it. But I agree. I mean, I'm very thankful that it was here the last few months because I've loved having something to watch weekly that, it's... I mean, having WWE, which I obviously love, it's at least to have that while sports have been canceled. To have that mainstay has been great. It'll keep moving forward, the story of COVID within WWE. It's very interesting to see where it goes. But
White Claw, it's 4 o'clock.
And we'll continue to talk about that as we learn more about it. But yeah, as of that, should we hop into the Wednesday Night Wars now, Kevin?
I think we should dig in, shouldn't we now, huh? And I think we should start with SmackDown, or sorry, with NXT, because I think NXT again. If you look at the ratings wars, so this was recorded on Friday. NXT actually had, I think, what was it, 740,000 compared to
it won the
AEW
week.
680,
I can
670.
get the overall exact numbers, but
Okay.
it was the first win for NXT since was it Rhea Ripley's match where she won the championship?
I think you're right.
Was that the last one?
Yeah, I think so.
So big.
I was looking at that light.
There's a light right next to it, so it's a little bit.
Yeah, so I keep looking at the light.
Excuse me. It's a big win for WWE. I'm sure Vince Sapien, I find it really interesting because it's becoming very hard to find the number here. It's interesting because mostly because AEW they've been really seemed like they're on a hot streak because they have Fyter Fest coming up, a lot of big names, things going on. NXT has held their ground, and in my opinion, they've basically had the better show over the last 3 weeks, I'd say.
Yeah, last 3 to 4 weeks.
It hasn't been bad, but NXT, they're having bigger matches, it seems like. They're building to more things. Kind of. I mean, they have Fyter Fest coming for AEW, but it just seems it hasn't been their best shows.
It hasn't been the wrestling show, I think. Like, it's been a very good show when it comes to, like, what we used to watch. I'm not going to lie, there were some matchups where, I guess with the Guevara issue, I mean, that had to get switched up, but it's just, like, a lot of things, like ending with Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy, to me, is not necessarily something you want to end your show with compared
Maybe start
to a title. Compared to a title match that's going on.
And
WWE is clearly... Sorry, let me just finish. WWE is clearly combating the whole Fyter Fest thing going on for the next 2 weeks with the announcement of Great American Bash. An old WCW and WWE pay-per-view. So, I think AEW, who's clearly been trying to, kind of combat against, they're both going against each other right now. And I think truly AEW needs to recognize, we need to be putting out a little bit better main events, a little bit better wrestling matches to go against some of these superb matches that NXT is putting out there.
Great American Bash, which is good. I think next week, night one of Fyter Fest is going to blow NXT out.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of really hype matches. Next week we'll have Cody's match. Next week we'll have the tag team, or maybe that's next week, but there's MJF and Wardlow versus Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus.
Which I am excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really exciting matches.
Really good matches that are going to be
the
happening.
women's match, I think, is next week, Sheeta versus Penelope Ford. Some good wrestlers there. So
I should have thought before I said that last statement because I did forget Jon Moxley. Yes,
that's the hardest thing. I was going to say that Jon Moxley.
So it's hard to have he hasn't been able to show up.
He's one of the people affected. His wife who has COVID. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes.
It's
moving
wild
forward.
to think. I
because
forgot.
So he is likely to have it. He lives with his wife. It's probably hard for him not to be able to contract that if they've been together in the last few weeks. So hopefully he is able to quarantine and get that over with and out of his system before his match in 2 weeks with Brian Cage, because that's probably the premier match of this entire 2-week event.
Mm-hmm.
I would say for sure. I mean, should we talk about the show?
I mean, should we start off with the best match of the week? Like,
I think
between the two shows, which would be the main event.
The main event of NXT.
Of NXT,
Yeah. So Keith Lee versus Finn Balor, your boy's favorite wrestler, Kevin's favorite wrestler, and Johnny Gargano for the NXT North American Championship.
Finn Balor, baby.
The winner goes on to face Adam Cole in a winner-take-all match in 2 weeks of the week 2 of the Great American Bash.
Mm-hmm.
So really, really exciting match here. Obviously, a lot of implications moving forward.
What were your thoughts here, Kevin? It was interesting because we watched this with a couple of my buddies too.
Yeah.
One of my roommate, he wanted Keith Lee to win, and another buddy of mine wanted he wanted Finn. Finn, yes. Yep. So, yes. So, it was interesting because I wanted Finn, he wanted Finn, and then we had two fans with Keith Lee. So, it was kind of interesting watching the match, and we both, it was great. It was honestly
really
fast-paced.
Great match. Yeah. Maybe not the best match you could imagine when you're seeing these three up against each other, but it was a really good story of Keith Lee, the two smaller guys trying to beat down Keith Lee, and then so they could go at each other more. Keith Lee I loved the spot where they had Keith Lee rise from the darkness to get Finn in the corner. That shot is just so great.
Yeah, such a cool shot when they do
throwback to that shot earlier in NXT a few months ago. Maybe it was last year even. Just a great moment and huge win for Keith Lee. A lot of fun spots at the end.
And it's exciting because Keith Lee, let's be real. For the last few months, it's been Keith Lee and it's been Adam Cole as the two guys who are probably the most popular guys on NXT. This match is going to be
It's gonna be
huge implications.
Huge.
Here.
Is it the first Keith Lee versus Adam Cole match? Have they faced in the NXT before? I know they haven't in a takeover.
Keith Lee versus Adam Cole.
It might be at least the first big match. They might have had a match where there was a schmaz ending, kind of.
Yeah.
I don't think they've had a legit match against each other.
Because how long has Keith Lee been in NXT? Because you got to think Adam Cole.
Sure.
So he won 390 days as champion.
Did he win the North American Championship from Roderick Strong back in early 2020? Was it or late 2019?
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, Keith Lee has been a mainstay in NXT since they went live on USA in October, or September, I mean. Yeah, huge match. 2 weeks from now, so it's the second night of their Great American Bash 2-week event.
Yep. That's what I was wondering. Okay.
Yeah, so really fun stuff. I assume, should we talk a little bit more about the rest of the show? I mean, it started off pretty hot with Damian Priest against Cameron Grimes. Really interesting match there.
Yeah.
Cameron Grimes coming out on top because Damian Priest had the injured ribs. He was attacked earlier in the day. Did you like this match, Kevin?
Yeah, man. I mean, Damian Priest, he was really... I honestly thought he seemed like he was getting the hell beat out of him. He seemed to be... I seemed like his reactions... And I guess it's just because his body was taped up and everything, which makes sense. Because he had just gotten beaten before. But, it's an easy way for Priest to get booked as... Or I guess... to get a loss on his record, because right now you want to push him as being big because he is a bigger guy.
Hey, you guys want to see a man rip a beer?
Yeah. Hey, yeah! All right, beer everywhere. Nice.
And that is Anthony Secord.
Yeah,
who wanted
Secord, baby.
Who wanted
That's
Keith
Tony
Lee?
C.
He was happy to see Keith Lee take the victory.
Keith Lee!
Yeah, so hey, everybody catch him actually upcoming...
He'll be on episode 2 of the Binge Brothers.
Sorry for the beer everywhere.
Hey, what'd you think of that match?
Dude, Keith Lee... You had it in his eyes right from the start. You saw it.
Yep.
He wanted it. He took it. He took what was his.
Yep.
He
Absolutely.
fucking take both of them, one on each shoulder.
Yep.
Nothing. Light to Keith Lee. Light.
Yep. Great little
Appreciate
segment
it.
there.
Thank
Yeah,
you so
perfect.
much. Hey, that's 30 seconds with Tony. 30 seconds with Tony. Great segment. I
Not
love
soprano.
That. Yeah, not soprano. Tony, fuck your bitch.
Tony C.
Yeah.
Tony C.
Tony
fuck your
C.
bitch.
Yeah. But yeah. So it was a pretty good match. Grimes is interesting just because Grimes to me is just somebody who I think has a limit. He's never gonna win. He might win the North American title, but that'd
Possibly.
be the max.
They've got to really make it more interesting to me because I don't love the just Southern guy and with a Southern accent. He's playing a heel, a little chicken shit
funny
heel.
old hat.
I got a good old hat and I'm gonna get the win.
I'm a Bayou.
I'm very lukewarm on on Cameron Grimes, but I think if they're gonna have a little mini feud with Cameron Grimes and Damian Priest to kind of help Priest move forward, it makes sense to go with him because he's not well liked. Fans definitely don't like Cameron Grimes. So
And he's someone who's kind of built in NXT because they're kind of in a little bit of a
he's
transition
got some good
period
wins.
right
He
now.
beat Finn Balor before.
He
beats most of the undercard or mid-card wrestlers for the most part. So
right now, I think NXT is honestly needing a little bit more star power to its show. So it's needing stars like Cameron Grimes to start stepping up.
Yep.
You need Priest, who's been stepping up. I think Priest has been someone
I really
who's
like
stepped
what
up
Priest
over
is
this.
doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like his little turns of face. I mean, I think he's probably more built to be heel, but
Dijakovic, is he returning? Like, what even happened with Dijakovic? We haven't seen him in forever.
Very good question. Yeah.
I mean, I just think right now, it's a matter of, if you want to step up and you're in the NXT pipeline right now, you need to start stepping up during these times. And Triple H is essentially asking and saying, grab the brass ring for NXT. So a lot of people are stepping up. That's why we're getting new people showing up. We've got the whole, I'd say Drake Maverick has been somebody who's definitely been stepping up.
I was just going to say, I don't know if it's bold, but this is my personal opinion is Santos Escobar, Delgado, Del Fantasma, the name of their new little crew.
Yep.
He is the most legit NXT Cruiserweight champion since Neville. Since Neville held it back in 2017.
It's a take.
That's what I believe. I mean, I don't think he's on Neville's level quite yet, but he, to me, just exudes charisma and badassery. Like, I love his look.
Yeah.
I think Triple H, who is really smart about this, knew how profitable of a look that he has. He's got a really great, just badass look, and having the two lackeys and the suits just looks really sharp.
Yeah.
And I fully bought into him.
And wouldn't you say one thing that NXT and Triple H just seem to have a knack at is the entrances for these superstars. The entrance for that whole group is unreal. It establishes them to me as right from the gate, right from the start. This is a team. And especially with him walking out with the title, he's got the whole get up. He's got the two badasses behind him who are looking pretty good. They're looking like stars out there.
Yeah.
They're about to run amok on this cruiserweight division. I think they were setting them up and establishing them as somebody who could be even bigger than what they were establishing Pac as. We'll see. He's somebody who has 20 years of experience. That's what they said?
Yeah,
during
they
the
said
match,
that.
right?
I think he's like 30 in his mid 30s, and he started wrestling at 15. So
14, I thought.
He was 15 or 14. So it's been like 20 years.
Yeah. So bringing up with Drake Maverick is also kind of cool because he actually was Santos Escobar again. Yeah, versus Jake Atlas.
Jake Atlas in this match.
Fine
It was
match.
a good match. Yeah, fine match. I mean, these guys can both wrestle, obviously, and Jake Atlas is good. He's
a new superstar who they're trying to get over with everything, and he happens to be the hottest thing in the cruiserweight, which is Drake Maverick. I don't know if they're real friends in real life.
Ally to Jake Atlas. He's ally to Drake Maverick, kind of.
That's what they kept saying was allies. They were allies.
Because I think he had his back after. I think after they had the triple threat match to get the match with Escobar, they kind of had a good moment or something. I'm not exactly sure, but with those guys, with Kushida in the mix here, I'm liking the potential that the cruiserweight division has here in NXT.
No, I will admit it's something I don't watch is the 205 Live, which that is.
I don't watch 205 Live either.
But it seems like
do they continue storylines on 205 Live?
I think they are.
With Escobar? I
think they are.
That I might have to start watching it because I'm really liking this storyline specifically. Maybe I know that's where like Jack Aller, who's released now, but he's been on there a lot, and
Tony Nese,
stuff, people like that. So
maybe Akira. I don't know if Akira. Maybe Akira probably does something.
Who am I thinking of? Oni Lorcan's on there a little bit sometimes.
Okay.
Who's been more in the tag team division now, but.
Should we discuss also? We're right now. This is just going off of what happened last week with this match too. Is Drake Maverick got pushed or actually thrown or. What is suplex through the table essentially? Looked rough, looked stiff, looked like that hurt. He missed the table.
Yeah, because he missed the table. It definitely looked like Santos because he did kind of it was sit up powerbomb basically.
Yeah.
And Santos landed his ass through the table, and then kind of Drake actually hit the ground. Mm-hmm. He protected his neck and head and everything, so I think he probably should hurt his back, maybe give him a stiff back, but definitely
really,
tough. It was
really missed the table there. I'll tell you what, absolutely. It was not. That seemed stiff.
It was a legit looking move,
baby.
Though. It was legit looking. It looks great. So it was a great highlight that they can always put for the rest of Drake that that package for the match. So that was most of the big parts of NXT. Should we?
What was the next? Wasn't the next thing they really kind of went over quick? Was just like also Timothy Thatcher has that group going through.
That's a great little thing.
Who's in that?
They haven't shown any face.
They haven't. Cooking.
I've watched this.
He's training, right?
3 weeks ago he teased it, and then last 2 weeks he's been doing these holds where he's basically just punishing these guys that he's training in his holds, just like making them tap out, but he's not releasing the hold. Really interesting stuff. Just looking like an absolute insane badass, which I'm liking. But
without the tooth,
without the front tooth. Mm-hmm. They have not shown anybody he's actually training, so it'll be interesting when he actually brings some of his trainees into a match. Possibly that could be an interesting storyline. So I'm definitely interested in what they do moving forward with it, and I'm liking the segments. They're really, really I don't know. It's very gruff. It's like black and white kind of. It's very interesting. So
and wasn't after that? Was that also then after that one? Wasn't the next like kind of promo? Wasn't it Rhea Ripley and?
Oh yeah, well they had Rhea. Dump Robert in the garbage again.
Yep. Which is interesting. It's something for Rhea to do right now. Some would say she's floundering just because I think everyone wants to push her towards the championship. I think this is fine for Rhea because she's going to be champion again, and she's almost above it right now because of how good she is. Would you agree?
Yeah, I get why they...
And Io, you got to have Io with...
Io is a great champion. I love Io Shirai. She's fantastic. Rhea, who's my favorite women's wrestler... I wish they had something a little bit more meaty to have her dig into, but I'm liking. At least they're giving her a story now. They have her on TV, but it seems to me, it just seems like it was a waste to have her lose the NXT title to Charlotte at WrestleMania. I think giving her that win would have blasted her off into the future, and maybe had given Io even a better moment to be 1-on-1 victory over Rhea Ripley to push her to the main roster officially. That could have been interesting. Maybe even had it last a little bit longer of a feud, have her win maybe the takeover before Survivor Series, or excuse me, SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
But at least she's doing something. I'm glad she's on TV, but I wish it was a meteor type of a storyline. So we'll see how it goes moving forward.
I love the fact about the women's division with NXT is that they've been essentially just pushing out just talent recently, and they still have a very, very deep women's division. They just lost Charlotte, and they still, is not a huge factor to the show, I feel like, to me personally.
Outside of the main event of the women's, they've still got Dakota Kai, Tegan Nox, Shotzi Blackheart,
Charlotte did her job of building 2 elite stars as being the ones who run the women's division. And what that was Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai. And I think they did a good job of it. She's no longer needs to be there. And
I don't know if Charlotte really did that. I think they were already stars, and Charlotte came in.
I think it really helps, though. It doesn't hurt.
She never took a pin. Io Shirai did not pin her. She pinned Rhea Ripley. So
that is a take by both of us. We can carry on from there.
It's all right if we disagree.
Yeah, that's completely agree. But yeah, I mean, it looks like Dakota Kai is gonna be the next one going after the Io Shirai's title. What do you think about that, Max? I mean, I know you kind of like Dakota Kai.
Oh, yep. Yeah, it's very interesting. I like Dakota Kai a lot. It's a fresh mashup, really. So I think that's got potential to be a really good match and a story moving forward. I'm sure they'll have Io defend in the next 2 weeks at one of these Great American Bash shows. So
yeah,
definitely interesting. Yeah, I mean that's a lot of the major news of NXT. Do you want to?
Yeah, and I just want to say, Io Shirai she wasn't on last night, right? Correct. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, there might have been some stuff that we missed, but yeah, I think that she was not on.
Yeah, so that's all right. Hopefully she can get back on. I miss having her here. But yeah, what do you want to talk about next, man?
Yeah, should we move into AEW Dynamite?
Is there anything else we kind of want to discuss? I mean,
well, it looks like Dexter Lumis versus Roderick Strong was a match. I haven't watched that segment yet. I just with traveling and everything here. I haven't seen it, so I don't want to talk about something I haven't seen. So, have you seen clips or anything like that? I mean, with the promo with Undisputed Era kind of overcoming the fear of Dexter Lumis was great. It was in the beginning of the show, which I did see, and they did it last week as well. So, I really love that stuff, and I'm gonna watch the match as soon as I can.
I like how they're building Dexter Lumis. He's somebody who was in TNA recently. Have I brought that up yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's someone former. So he's got the talent. He's got the charisma. Luckily, just because he's had TV, he knows how to kind of work the TV lifestyle, how to work it with TNA in the past. So I dig Dexter Lumis's new thing. It's creepy. It's different. It's interesting to me personally. And it's something to do. And it's something to do with the guys. That's not just Adam Cole. It's always been Adam Cole and the other guys kind of following him. Not exactly Undisputed Era. I think to me, especially recently. Yeah. I think this is something good for Roddy, good for the other guys too, and this makes, I think, Dexter Lumis look like a really credible monster-esque character. Not really a monster, but kind of in between, just being a heel and just being a monster. Kind of interesting character. We're going to see how it unfolds. This is something I think Vince is going to really gradually like down the line and really grasp his teeth with. Yeah, man, and this is interesting. And then I'd say even another character even more invigorating, even more captivating than him is also Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross essentially had a predictably short match with Bronson Reed, and it just shows Karrion Kross is just somebody who's going to kick your fucking ass.
Yeah, he's a badass.
He's a monster. He's going to take the title from either Keith Lee and or Adam Cole, whoever's the NXT champion, and essentially just don't want to push him to the top, I think, already, which they could. I don't know why Triple H wouldn't want to do that, honestly, at this point, but they're just making him just go through and keep making him look like a badass. It just adds to his badass look, let's be real.
100%. Yeah. And, he's legit. I love the presentation with him, and Scarlett is just so sweet looking.
Oh, my God. She is creating such a great character for herself, and she is creating a great following now, because let's be real, she's hot.
Yeah. No, but what I was going to say is, truthfully, I think that this match, Keith Lee versus Adam Cole for the NXT North American Championship and NXT Championship, I think the winner of this is just a placeholder for Karrion Kross. I think that the winner of that match is going to be squashed by Karrion Kross in the next 2 months. Maybe not squashed, but a 10-minute match where Karrion Kross defeats them to become double champion too. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to push him like that because this is a guy who's just a beast, and I don't think you want to waste time. He gave the huge win over Tommaso, which was definitely the right move, but that was. I think it's time for him just to be shoved right to the championship.
Yeah, Yeah. Cool. Yeah. If we want, and I just want to say, if we had to predict, I'm on the line of thinking Adam Cole wins. I think Adam Cole's for some reason going to stay in NXT, and I think they're going to put Keith Lee back into the main roster. What do you think?
It's a tough one to predict, really. I could definitely see it going both ways. I reserve the right to change my decision next week, but I'm going to go with Keith Lee right now.
All right, cool. Very cool. Very interesting. All right, dude, let's go into AEW Dynamite. Woo! Definitely. Oh, we're here, and let's go. All right, let's start with the show. I mean, the show started off, and it's a pretty good card for tonight. I think here's the thing about AEW. I think it really filtered off near the end there compared to what NXT was putting out. Mm-hmm. But the beginning, it was cool. It was lumberjack match. It was beef on beef. Something I'm always willing to watch, and that's a good way to start the show. We got Luchasaurus versus Wardlow starting everything off here. Just a title just a match between two hosses. What do you think about that?
All right, yeah. So it started off pretty hot way to start off lumberjack match. Can't say I'm a fan of having lumberjack matches in the time of COVID.
Honestly,
I think this is a pretty insensitive time to have a match with 20 guys circle around the ring within 2 feet of each other. Especially in Florida, with cases rising a lot in Florida, a little bit maybe not smart, but you know what? I'll just judge the match as I see it. Always, I just want to get that point out. But pretty entertaining big man match. I mean, obviously these are two guys who can do things that not all big men can do. Really impressive, and the crescendo like moment with them on top of the stage doing the dives. Pretty fun stuff. Really sweet. Shooting star off of the stage by Luchasaurus. Really cool looking.
One thing I'm starting to notice with AEW is I really like how they have that little the leveled walkthrough. I like how they have that instead of it being higher up. It's the same level as getting to the ring. I like that. I think they utilize that in a lot of cool ways.
Cool. It's very interesting. So
I
like
a different look.
It's cool because they can get out of the ring and just still be right at the same level. They don't have to drop down.
Yeah.
Probably easier on the wrestlers to have a spot like that if they want to do outside of the ring spot. So.
And I like this match because these two are going to be the future of AEW. I mean, I was just listening to an interview with Tony Khan this week. He was previewing Fyter Fest on AEW Dynamite's podcast. And these two guys were two guys that he mentioned. These guys stepped up a lot during this COVID-19 kind of mess and madness. Luchasaurus is somebody who was injured, came back at Revolution. Was that what it was?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly.
But it stalled his big push. He was somebody who was being presented as somebody who was very agile and a big guy, and Wardlow essentially is the second coming of Brock Lesnar, it seems like. Yeah. So having these two big guys go against each other was just something to see because I think this is gonna be a match that we're gonna see maybe down the line for a title.
Very possible. I mean, it just goes to show again how AEW has, after starting off a little slowly with their big guys, they've built up a great stable of big wrestlers.
If not better than any one of the top rosters that even WWE is putting out there. It really is.
I mean, with Wardlow, Luchasaurus. They have Lance Archer, Brody Lee, and Brian Cage. I include Brian Cage because he's huge.
And these are the new guys that are coming in. We're not even talking about also some other big guys that, Cody Rhodes is bigger. He's 220.
Yeah, I mean, they still have their main event big guys like Kenny Omega, Cody, Hangman Page, Chris Jericho. I mean,
if you're looking at this is great because this is something that, we talk about Lance Archer. Lance Archer has luckily had kind of a following with this crowd. The people who watch at AEW, they already know who Lance Archer is, probably from NJPW. Yep. His time against, his death match against John Moxley is one of the craziest matches I've seen. It's interesting how they're also be able to build two guys who I don't think people really knew. I didn't know who Wardlow was. Didn't know who Luchasaurus was.
I only knew because Justin LaBar, great, wrestling.
I also want to point out I am a Labarian. Yeah, Labarian. I'm a Labarian.
Yeah, he in a local. He used to manage Wardlow when he was on the Indies in a local promotion. I think in Pittsburgh, where he's from.
Pittsburgh. Yep.
So I only knew because he used to tweet about Wardlow all the time, and I remember seeing, this guy looks jacked. He looks really a great size. So I didn't ever watch the matches, but Justin LaBar talked him up a lot, who I really respect and enjoy. So I've known him from that perspective. I think for 2 or 3 years. That's it. So.
Yeah, it was cool. I'm just really, I don't know. Me personally, I think it's kind of tough for me just because I think I just like AEW because it is something new. It's interesting. It kind of goes against the grain against WWE, so it's interesting. So it was cool to start off with this. Next match was Hikaru Shida versus Red Velvet. It's kind of it was just a squash match.
And then, basically a setup for the moment of the fight between Penelope Ford and Sheeta, which was a fun little spot. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Ricky Starks got a shiner. He got a stray punch in this.
Yeah, he did.
Penelope Ford smacked him in the face accidentally.
So can I say something about Penelope Ford? It's kind of cool that she was somebody who stepped up during this time. She's somebody who really was. Her and Kip have been actually getting onto our radar a little bit when they were doing nothing. They were floundering.
Much more, so than before. So absolutely, she's been definitely one of the more impressive of the women's division.
I would say even same with like Big Swole. Big Swole's been stepping up as well, just as much during
no more so than Britt Baker though. She's been the big star of this whole area.
The injury really we thought would kind of derail her push.
I was sad because
it's build her character even more with us.
I think it might have been. This could be the best thing that's ever happened to her. The way that they're using her with, I love the addition of the plexiglass. Big Swole dumping the garbage on her. Well, we can just talk about that now because it kind of was throughout the show, kind of different segments.
Yeah.
Her setting notes to Tony Schiavone. I think it's just fantastic. So funny, and she's so charismatic here. I mean, she's a star. She's probably going to be she's the first women's star in AEW.
Who would you say?
Britt Baker.
Britt Baker, yeah, I would say so. And I think she's the one who needs to be the person who takes the title away from Hikaru Shida down the line when she can return. Hopefully she can return for AEW Double or Nothing.
Or All In, you mean?
Or sorry, All Out. All Out. So All Out 2. Or is it 2?
I'm not sure what they're going to call it yet. They haven't announced. So I'm sure the build to that will start once Fyter Fest is done.
Yeah.
They said that she's going to be back for that. So I assume they'll build up her versus Big Swole for that match. For that. And then Sheeta will have a championship match. And I think they'll push for Full Gear.
Can I commend AEW for doing a good job of putting two different rivalries going on that's outside of the women's title?
Yeah.
Like, they've got Britt Baker, and I think luckily, you've got AEW Dark, which can help push that, which we kind of forget. Yeah. I don't really watch AEW Dark very much.
It's a lot of squash.
Huh?
It's a lot of squash matches.
But they do try to push some storylines with it.
Yeah, I mean, I like
Brody Lee has a storyline on it, I think, like, right now. It's been...
Yeah, the reason I like it is because it's a great avenue to, because records are so important, to give these guys wins, to give Brian Cage 2 wins. I mean, he's now like 5-0 now or 4-0, and without Dark, he would just have 2 or 3 matches. Maybe it's more than that now. So, it's a cool, definitely a great way for them to have more talent be able to perform. But it'll be interesting to see how moving forward that goes. So,
should we move on to that press conference, the Fyter Fest press conference?
Yeah,
or sorry, no, it was actually originally supposed to be the press conference.
It was. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was. Okay, sorry, I was reading this wrong.
So for Cody versus Jake Hager next week, starts out with Cody and the Nightmare family all in the press conference room, but Jake Hager's not there. No representatives for him, and they take a few questions. To me, not a great segment here. I thought Cody and Arn were okay. It was okay with towards the end when Jake Hager finally came to the showdown, which was kind of nice, but not the best way I think they could have led into their match next week, but it was okay.
Yeah, and I think what it was just they're trying to slow down on Jake Hager's talking ability, I feel like, or maybe get people to forget about it, because I think that's the only thing that hinders his credibility in AEW, maybe to the outside, and I don't know if he's maybe somebody who's trying to hide it, or maybe AEW's trying to hide it, just because, as you listen to Chris Jericho's podcast, Talk is Jericho, he just had all of the Inner Circle on there. And he was just bringing up the fact that, Jake Hager is somebody who he cannot believe didn't get over in WWE. So I think they're trying to help with, maybe do this sort of a thing just to make it so. I think this is all strategically their thought to help make it to where it doesn't, this isn't Jack Swagger, this is Jake Hager.
Yeah.
And I think they're trying to make us all forget it. So there's a short segment. He doesn't have to talk really into it. And it makes him as a tough badass. That's the only fortunate thing. But I can see why you would think this is kind of like,
truthfully, I think... I didn't like that Cody didn't defend the championship this week. I think he said he's going to do it every week. Why did you do it this week? I know you have a match next week set up, but...
Did you do it on Dark? Was that maybe something?
I'm pretty sure he didn't. I feel like I would have heard about that. I'll usually look at the results while they show them at the bottom of AEW, so... I think it's a little bit... I'm not going to,
God, I feel like... Are we being bitchy for doing that? Are we being bitchy for saying that?
No, I'm just saying...
Are we asking too much?
Well, I just think that would have been a better way to promote this match, even if Cody Rhodes gets another win, then have Jake Hager come out, do another little brawl here, maybe make Cody bleed. I think that sets up the match better than a little conference. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking. That having Cody win another match, have 4 title defenses going into his match with Jake Hager, I think that would be it would make him look more legit. I also just wanted to hear.
Is he defending it? Is he going to defend it next week? You think both weeks?
Well, I don't know if he'll defend it both weeks since they're kind of doing it as one show. I think they'll have Cody on.
So they're doing is they're doing 6 matches per show.
Yeah, so they announced both shows, and I think I brought it up actually. So I was gonna say at the end of the show we'll kind of go over night 1 and do our predictions.
Yeah.
Quickly. So we'll get through the show.
Oh yeah, man.
And then we'll go over the card.
That's why we're here. That's
1.
why this is the nice thing about it is one thing why we always have to make our shows around 40 minutes because we're cheap assholes who just don't want to buy the Zoom Pro. Yeah. I don't want to buy the Zoom Pro. We don't want it. So right now it's only 40 minutes with 3 of us.
Once we make a Patreon and we get a few Patreons on there, maybe that could pay for it.
Exactly. Hey, maybe down the line. Hey, we would really appreciate it. But sorry, I didn't even look at the camera. I keep forgetting to do it.
Yeah,
I'm not really good
this is definitely a first for us. I brought my camera in. We have Kevin's roommate's great mic here, so different setup than usual. We hope you guys enjoyed having us next to each other.
Let us know what you guys think about this too. I mean, it's exciting just to have us both in the room together. It's my buddy. I miss the guy.
Yeah, and
it's good to have him here.
We'll have we're also recording our movie podcast as well this weekend, so we'll have Binge Brothers episode 2. So why don't we move into the next segment? We got a tag team match: Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss against Brody Lee and Colt Cabana.
So is Colt Cabana now apparently? This is him trying to recruit him still, right?
So yes, he has not officially joined Dark Order, but Brody Lee is trying to recruit him, and I'm kind of liking where this is going. Truthfully, I mean, I still really think Brody Lee is badass. He hit his clothesline to win this match. But
2 new potential tag teams as well, and
definitely.
This elite. Literally, AEW has done it.
Just more and more tag teams.
It's the best tag team division I think we've ever seen in wrestling. And history, maybe.
I like Janela and Sonny Kiss together. I thought they really worked well together.
They worked well, yeah.
They both can wrestle well. I mean, we know that. So, really interesting. Yeah, their promos have been pretty. What's the word?
They're making a story. It looks like that Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela, Joey Janela has kind of been floundering. Sonny Kiss is there to help, reestablish. You're Joey Janela. You're the guy who has no rules for his body. Someone who's about to throw his own, put his body on the line just to get a win. So she's kind of reestablished that, but they're also winning together because they're also trying to push Sonny Kiss as just being kind of a believable badass, no matter what or whatever character she's trying to be or whatever who she's trying to portray.
Yeah, so
she's a badass. So I respect that.
I like this match a lot, and I think obviously the right people won Brody Lee and Colt Cabana because they're progressing that story forward. But
Brody Lee's has one of the best records. They must be raising through the tag team or something. Yeah, keep going. Sorry,
I was just gonna say it really. Coming off of
I know, sorry.
I was going to say, I just think while getting the win for them, it also established Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela as a team that could really has potential. Like, I really think that they could do something there in the mid-card of the tag team because the way that's going, that's really what it is. The tag team division is going to have a mid-card. I mean, they have the main event of FTR, Young Bucks, Hangman, and
I'd say the Lucha Bros.
I mean, that's really the top tier.
Butcher and the Blade, they're presenting them almost as like the upper tier of the mid-card.
I think it makes sense
that's all they really are.
Yeah, and it makes sense for FTR kind of to wrestle them because they're also kind of tough badasses. Kind of like FTR to have them kind of wrestle out with FTR beginning of FTR's career is definitely smart. So, so 2 tag teams that are really interesting. Brody Lee. I'd be interested to see Brody Lee kind of if he fleshes out the tag team division with this second Dark Order tag team. Wait, third?
Because they got the Alex Reynolds
and Silver.
Yeah, and then they have. It's because it's normally Brody Lee. It would probably be Brody Lee in 10.
Yeah, that makes more sense. But they're doing the Colt Cabana thing, so it'll be interesting to see. I don't think Colt Cabana's going to join him. Okay. They're doing one more match, but he could. If he does, I'm going to be interested to see how it goes. I mean,
that's a take.
I'm there, so yeah. Let's
Colt Cabana, and he's a legend, and one thing I think is we forget. I think they're kind of doing one thing, which is kind of making you assume, like, their hardcore audience knows who Colt Cabana is. He's one of the most famous podcasters out there when it comes to kind of the indie scene, and he's also CM Punk's former best friend. Huge thing with that. So he is a legend when it comes to the indie scene. Just never really made it with WWE, unfortunately. Just wasn't good at the time. But he is somebody who, they're trying to present as being like, this guy was a legend. He was a guy who, was very, very talented. He is very talented. He's very entertaining. So, I'm interested. It's interesting. One thing that AEW has is they've got so much talent right now. they're trying to get it all on the show, but also, it's not like I don't care necessarily. It's just like, this is all new. I think one thing that's with AEW that's really cool is they're not relying on like the old talent that TNA had. TNA used to have like Booker T. Oh my god, remember Main Event on Mafia? Like, it was really sick at the point, watching, but like it doesn't progress things. This is the future of wrestling, and they're really doing a good job of doing it.
Yeah,
so the tag division helps with that.
Yeah, so continuing with the tag division was the match of the night. It was SCU versus FTR, the battle of the 3-letter tag teams.
And can I say something actually? 1 second quick. I used to hate tag team wrestling growing up.
Interesting.
As a kid, growing up, I didn't.
It wasn't my favorite as a kid.
It's my favorite thing now, though.
I've really grown to respect it as I've grown older and got into it over the last 5 or 6 years.
Really. And I'd say it was because of you, for me.
Yeah, because the more I watched it, I realized how tag team could be so damn entertaining. Looking at Bray Wyatt, the Wyatt family versus the Shield.
Yeah.
If you look at
Revival
Shield versus
DIY.
the Usos, Cody Rhodes and Goldust versus the Shield, was it?
Yeah.
That's a great
Oh
match.
my gosh, the drama.
Obviously,
there.
everything in AEW. I'm just saying that's kind of what brought me to love tag team wrestling more through WWE, and now AEW is really showing what it can do with a full-fledged tag team division that puts almost half of their show, I'd say a third of the show at least, if not 45 minutes to 50 minutes of each show is dedicated to the tag team division,
and you
which
can
I love.
just see the depth within AEW, because you're getting Revival, who originally was supposed to be against. Originally was supposed to be against what was it?
The Natural Nightmares, but QT
Marshall, yeah.
He was exposed to something with COVID,
so why not just grab the former tag team champions and just put them in there?
Why
hey,
not?
I'll take that.
I loved it.
I'll take that.
Damn it! They performed.
Yeah.
They pulled it off. FTR. You guys know my love for FTR. Every week I talk about how much they are just fantastic. And it was the same thing this week with just 2 veteran performers. Who would have thought? Would you ever have thought 3 years ago that we'd get the Revival at the time versus Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian
on a new show
on a complete
live
league.
TV?
It's pretty crazy seeing a match like this. It's
a dream match. You fantasy book this kind of shit.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're growing up, because you're thinking to yourself, this is insane that there's a show that has the Revival who've grown huge. Revival to me seem like they're main eventers. I watch when the Revival's on TV. I watch when they're on AEW, and they've got a fire. Their guys are like, we command the television when we're on TV. You watch their matches. They
just ooze charisma and badassery and old school. It's old school charisma.
Arn Anderson,
exactly,
gritty, yeah.
And I love that AEW is just realizes that and just giving them the platform to actually do that. Where WWE let them flounder for years. They gave them championships, but they didn't let them be themselves. The NXT did really well as well. So, great match here. Gives FTR another big win as a tag team. And
it's sad to see that the first original tag team champions are kind of getting relegated now to what I'd say what Revival was back with WWE.
Yeah, but I think they're older, so they
and they know their role.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Kazarian, he's this talented guy. It's crazy to think that he's in his 40s. Same with Daniels. Daniels starting to show his age a little bit.
Yeah, but they still can go.
Yeah, Kazarian's been. I think this is right now. Kazarian's on a little bit of a roll right now, and he's almost getting the best he's been since TNA.
He still looks pretty great for his age. Kazarian looks great.
I remember when they were signed, I'll admit this. I'll be like, okay, SCU. Kazarian. I remember him in TNA years ago. Why am I don't really care to watch him.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to really... Because they won the tag titles, I think, and they can still go. They've proved it. I just really wasn't really watching the Ring of Honor days. So, great match. Really interesting. And then
match
also...
of the show for us.
And then what also was kind of interesting is then, FTR did, a promo... standing behind, and then also Butcher and the Blade show up in their truck.
Yep, they take over the truck and then announce the return of Lucha Brothers, who attack FTR from behind, hit the package pile driver double stomp combo.
Yeah,
really, really
good to see them back, man.
Great.
Good to see Pentagon back.
Great to see Pentagon and Phoenix back from injury. Both of them back.
Yep,
I love it. These guys are fantastic. I love them all the way back to Lucha Underground. So,
is there anyone else really missing from AEW right now? It seems like they got everyone. Pac
is the biggest guy missing.
Yes.
So that kind of stinks. Because I love Pac. So
and it seems like, and also what was announced was I think the Best Friends versus Pentagon.
Oh no! They announced Pentagon Jr. or
Best
Lucha
Friends
Brothers
versus.
I'm not sure.
No, they're doing the Best Friends versus Hangman and Omega at
well,
Fyter
yeah,
Fest.
we knew that already.
Oh, we did? Okay.
The
Sorry.
match announced was Young Bucks and FTR versus Butcher Blade and Lucha Brothers.
Yeah.
8-man tag match. So that's got a lot of potential. We'll talk about that in the when we preview Fyter Fest Week 1.
Good segment. I do want to say, though, I do wish one thing that they could have kind of switched up. I do wish you would have switched up, maybe having, them come out with like the music, the Lucha Bros, because I've been missing the Lucha Bros, truthfully, for a while. Kind of was just like a little bit, them standing behind them a little awkwardly. I know they're kind of the bad guys,
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I think it makes more sense to have it be the surprise factor if they just show up behind them than if they shoot the music, because then they have the time to get there. But Young Bucks came out to help, and they set up the 8-man tag match. So
I mean, who are the top 4 tag teams in AEW right now? Is it Butcher and Blade? Should they be in that spot? No.
But also,
because
you think about Young Bucks and the Champs, obviously.
Yeah.
Man and Omega. I put FTR in third.
Can we please have a match with those 4 teams? Actually, please.
Yeah, and then
please, can we have a match with those 4 teams?
It's like I love that they have these, because then I would put Lucha Brothers at 4.
They're number 4, and I would say you could put them at number 2 either. 4 or 2.
For me, FTR's 1, but that's just me. And I put Young Bucks at 2, then the Champions. They're all great.
COVID has unfortunately hurt themselves in the ranking just because they haven't been able to perform. Pentagon being gone, he's been gone the entire time.
Yeah, which is okay. I think that I'm just thinking, I'm not going by actually the rankings. I'm going by just like who I think are the top 4 teams. So
yeah, okay.
Let's
move on.
Yeah, let's move on. Definitely. So
Brian Cage, the Path of Cage.
The Path of Cage continues. Another squash match. I loved. Here's a few. Before I'll say, I'll get your thoughts. I love Pac on commentary, Taz on commentary.
Yeah.
Because he was talking through the match and saying every single move of Brian Cage, how it affects his opponent and how it just tears apart the other opponent's body, was so interesting, and it just made it seem more real, that there's meaning behind everything Brian Cage does. I love that. And then his promo, I think he did a promo also on Jon Moxley in the ring after. Just great stuff from Taz. I saw a tweet that Taz is being what Paul Heyman used to be and can't be anymore for Brock Lesnar. And, there's maybe some truth to it. What do you think?
Can I say something about Taz? I want to give a shout out to AEW, just because AEW has done something that WWE had, they're the ones who started it. And TNA also weren't the ones to essentially move on from it, was having Taz in a commentary role, as only a commentary guy. I think some of us forget that, Taz was a good commentary guy for the WWE and SmackDown. I remember growing up, that's the guy I remember from my years on SmackDown. But he also was one of the most, probably the most badass, the guy who would knock any mother effer out in the background, in ECW, and he could probably do with WWE. It was Taz. And having him in this role where he's a legit badass again, not just some, he is just like an announcer, a manager for Brian Cage. Because Brian Cage is somebody who's going to have to, work and develop himself with speaking on TV. But Brian Cage, you can't deny Brian Cage is somebody, when you see on TV, you think that guy is someone you want to watch. Yeah, whether or not you do think he's just some big, bad, who is this guy kind of a thing, or he's just probably roided or whatever. And he's all natural. I want to point this out. This is somebody who they're pointing out as all naturally looks like this. That is a genetic specimen right there. So you got one of the most legit badass men out there in Taz, representing one of the most naturally gifted buff guys in Brian Cage. We don't care. We don't have to go into that.
Not natural.
They're presenting him as that.
Okay.
Cody Rhodes just said.
I don't believe that he's all natural.
I don't care. It doesn't matter.
I don't think it denigrates his character.
Doesn't matter. I'm just saying.
It doesn't.
I love seeing this. This title match of Fyter Fest needs a main event. Needs to be the last match in that entire thing on the Fyter Fest
main event. Let's just hope it can happen with Moxley. So I'm just praying it does, because I'm so pumped for this.
Yeah, because this is intense. And you know what? If Moxley can't show up, it's unfortunate. But I will, Brian Cage can hold the title. He did it for TNA, for Impact. He could do it for AEW, absolutely. I think, for right now,
Brian
at least.
Cage should be a credible champion. So. Another match that had to be altered was the second match. Was, in theory, the main event match of the night, with the segment after, which we'll talk about. But that's Matt Hardy versus Santana. Obviously, this was supposed to be Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara, who is suspended currently.
Yeah.
Obviously,
saying some really stupid shit.
Yep.
A couple years ago.
So hopefully Sammy kind of learns his lesson. Seems like he's talked with Sasha about his comments. He's trying to repent. Really, he's treated the right way, in my opinion. So I think he's gonna have some sensitivity training of some sort, so hopefully he can get that done
and can
come back smarter.
He can become smart. He can become better because
he's really young still. So I'm really hoping he can really learn.
I'm glad I don't have shit that's about me that was recorded from 22 because I know I don't know I would ever say anything like that.
I mean, I'm 22 years old. I say some stupid shit. I mean, I don't want that coming out.
And we're never condoning that either. You don't ever say that ever either.
Obviously,
we're just saying
we don't condone what he's saying at all.
He can grow from it, and with everything going on with like Twitter, with speaking out, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, and I'm glad that AEW treated it seriously, and he also treated it very seriously. He didn't try to say he was joking. He flat out said he was wrong. He said he couldn't support what he said at all, and he apologized. So, other than that, it was a pretty solid match. I mean, Matt Hardy, I think Santana is maybe the best performer to go against Matt Hardy, but it was the best match that made the most sense because of his kind of feud with the Inner Circle, but it was solid.
Yeah. That's one thing that's nice is that Matt Hardy's been around for such a short amount of time, even though they just had
fresh matchups galore.
Exactly, and they've essentially had, and Santana, they're also showing Santana as being somebody who could be a singles wrestler too.
Yeah,
down the line.
Yeah, like in Santana Ortiz. So I mean, it was a good win for Matt Hardy. Continue his kind of streak here, but
it's cool to see the 3 stages of Hardy.
Yeah, I do like that.
He
comes out as different people every week. I really enjoy that. So
yeah, it's cool to see it. Matt Hardy he's back. He's the best he's ever been. And it's good to have him on TV.
Yeah.
AEW every segment has somebody recently that I like and has had me drawn to the television for every segment.
Interesting that he's not going to have a match at either Fyter Fest show. I'm not.
They've announced all of them though.
They've announced all the matches. Yeah,
they have.
I know, which we'll go into.
Okay, all right. Let's get this last segment then, and let's go over that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll talk about that too. So the main event, which was for a match already announced, Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho
on my third
face off.
I'm drinking like a sailor.
As he gets his third White Claw at 4:30 on a Friday.
It's 5:01.
It's 5:01 now. Okay, it's 5 o'clock.
You want one? Here, take it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I do want one. Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho face off. Gotta say, I did like this segment a lot. Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy, 2 of the funniest and most entertaining guys on this platform.
Yeah.
I watched AEW first and then watched NXT later, so I wasn't. But apparently, a lot of people switched over to NXT for their main event, which I would have done if I watched live. I didn't watch AEW live; I watched it that night. Yeah. So, really, I think it was probably the right segment to go on last, but it really couldn't contend with NXT. But I thought it was really entertaining and showed some true fighting spirit from Orange Cassidy, which we haven't seen before. He really
and he's one of the most over superstars.
He is, and we've never seen this aggression from him.
Yeah.
So I like that Chris Jericho is getting that out of him, but also having the funny, the comedic element, which is great, obviously.
And I wonder if NXT or if AEW, I don't know, are these live shows with AEW or are they?
Yes,
they're live.
They do it live, yeah.
So I wonder if they just kind of thought to themselves, okay, it's going to be really difficult to compete against a triple threat with some of the 3 of the best in the world wrestlers. So they thought, hey, let's put 2 of the best, most over superstars that are on our roster right now, Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho.
I don't blame them for it. It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
That's probably their...
Makes sense.
Jericho is probably, outside of Cody and the world champion Jon Moxley, is probably the biggest draw week to week.
Yeah.
Maybe even above those
and Orange Cassidy might be the fastest rising.
I mean, every single week, one of my biggest things I always look forward to Judas coming out to Judas.
Now that I betrayed
everyone I've ever loved, I pushed them all away. Just fantastic.
Oh my God.
So yeah,
I become Judas in my mind. Yeah. So it was
pretty good
great
segment overall. A good show. AEW doesn't really make bad shows, but I just think NXT has been more forward moving recently. Maybe that if that makes sense. I don't know. That's kind of just what I think. But NXT wins, but still a good show from both shows. It's weird.
AEW it almost seems like it's not 2 hours to me. It seems like it's a very quick show. It's very free flowing.
I will say AEW definitely goes by quicker than NXT. I'll definitely say that.
Yeah. I think maybe it's just because it's a little bit more open, a little more lively. NXT is in that dark, they don't have to, show the crowd really.
That could be it. Yeah. My shoulder. If you guys don't know, I've been playing to Kevin on my shoulder pain. I don't know why. I don't know what's happening, but it sucks. So we've talked about NXT. We've talked about AEW. Let's preview AEW Fyter Fest.
Fyter Fest.
2 nights, and we're going to talk
about... Fyter Fest 2, if you're actually looking.
Yeah, true. Here, let me go over night 2 first, and then we'll preview night 1, because next week we'll kind of go over predictions for night 2. So night 2, Moxley versus Brian Cage, AEW World Championship. Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. FTR and Young Bucks versus Butcher, Blade, Phoenix, and Pentagon Jr. Lance Archer versus Joey Janela. And SCU versus Dark Order. Full SCU, so it'll be SCU versus Brody Lee, Grayson, and Colt Cabana.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then also...
Stu Grayson's Dos, or is he Uno? He's Dos, and when it comes to Uno, that Uno
yeah,
Dos
yeah,
team.
and then he's
the original.
guy without
the original. He's like the original.
Exactly. He doesn't have the mask.
Yeah.
And then also Nyla Rose will be back in action that show. So that's night 2. Now next week, night 1. Let's talk about each match as we go forward. So first match listed off. Interesting that there's 3 championship matches next week and only 1 the following week. Very interesting.
Okay.
I think they want to make sure they win that week since the following week is the big
Is
NXT,
it the world title, though?
The big NXT matches. Yeah, it's the world title is the following
world
week.
Title versus world title. I'll take that. That's exciting.
So, first match, tag team MGF and Wardlow versus Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus.
Okay.
Who do you think wins this match?
I think it's going to be probably Wardlow and MJF. MJF has the best record in AEW, I think. Best winning percentage, I think, at least. He only has 1 loss, I think.
Yeah, I think it might have been in a...
And Wardlow is being pushed as the next Brock Lesnar. I think it just makes sense. And you know what? Luchasaurus, unfortunately, and Jungle... Because it's going to be like a 1 versus 1. Because Jungle Boy... No, wait. No. Oh, crap. So, I don't know. That'd be insane if they had...
Truthfully, I believe Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus are going to win.
To keep that rivalry going. Because it's and it's kind of cool what they've been doing. It's been a good rivalry.
It has been. And there's a reason why. So, 2 things. Jungle Boy... who's been looking great, had great match with MGF, great match with Cody, but lost both. He needs a little boost. Plus, Luchasaurus just lost to Wardlow, kind of with a screwy finish with the low blow. Bringing them together, full force against MJF and Wardlow, they've been teasing MJF and Wardlow could have a little split, and Wardlow could go on his way. And I think that there's going to be a mishap that leads to Wardlow taking the pin.
Oh.
And I think Luchasaurus will pin Lord Wardlow, and that could continue to
the rivalry
fester.
Between Luchasaurus and Wardlow.
Also MJF and Wardlow possibly having some arguments and maybe breaking up from his becoming like a bodyguard for MJF.
Okay.
Maybe. I mean, I think that's kind of what they're going towards because I think they still see money in Wardlow and they need to see him outside.
How can you not see money in Wardlow?
Of course. Mm-hmm. I agree. I just am saying I think they want to maybe push him as himself because I think he's got potential. So. That'll be definitely a match I'm looking forward to. Now a match that, with not a lot of build-up, but Private Party is with Matt Hardy is going to take on Santana and Ortiz. So should be a good tag team match. Glad to have, definitely good to have 2 tag team matches probably on each show, which they want to do.
Yeah.
This is where I was very confused. Not confused, but it's interesting choice not to have Matt Hardy in a singles match on either one of these shows. That's what I think. It was.
Well, I think what's going on is this has been a feud that's actually been going on with Santana and Ortiz between them because they've actually have connections being from New York City.
They have.
So it makes sense for them to do it.
No, this does make sense because.
And Matt Hardy doesn't want to be the shine. I think Matt Hardy's like, I'm with these guys to help push them.
Sure, I get that. I'm not like I don't think it's a huge mistake. I just think it's interesting, but I'm not against it. So
yeah,
I'm excited for this match. Should be good. So
it's gonna be interesting. It's a good tag team. And two tag team matches are gonna be really good performances there. We got Akira Shida versus Penelope Ford.
Yeah, first of the championship match.
I would say this. I don't foresee Akira Shida losing.
No, absolutely. This is probably the easiest match to call for night 1. Mm-hmm. Besides maybe Cody versus Jake Hager, but I think even there, Jake Hager has a smaller percent chance to win, or a bigger percent chance to win than Penelope Ford. But I think if they give this 10-15 minutes, this could be a good match if they show what Penelope Ford can do, because Shida is great in the ring. With Kip Sapien there, it could provide for some good spots to see if Kip Sapien can help Penelope win. So it could be a fun match for sure.
Yeah.
So then next is, which is interesting that they're, well, I guess the way I'm putting it is Cody versus Jake Hager for the TNT Championship.
Which I like.
Oh, yeah,
this is going to be a good match for the first night. Because it seems like right now the first night is going to be kind of the... kind of like the quicker night. You know, they know it's still a very, very good show.
I think night 1 looks more exciting than night 2.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
I wouldn't deny that.
Interesting. So, this is definitely a huge match. I think Cody still comes out on top. I think he's going to hold the championship for months, but this is definitely going to be a great match. I think this will be brutal. Maybe, besides the Tag Team Championship, maybe the longest match of the night. Those are 2 going to be the biggest ones for sure. I'm really excited to see what they can do here with Jake Hager, probably in his biggest spot in AEW thus far.
And I've heard actually what they're gonna do is they're gonna do like match on match on match on match. It's gonna be very quick. Not quick, sorry. It's gonna be like no break, no filler.
I like
no
that.
break time.
It's
no,
gonna be a pay per view
yeah.
basically.
Yeah, essentially a 2-hour pay per view.
Fantastic.
I'll take that.
So.
And I think the last match, and Cody's going to show up. Any match with Cody's going to be good. Jake Hager's a legit superstar, former world champion that we forget about. And we don't really point out.
Huge potential for this one, yeah.
Yeah.
Jake Hager can go. He still can go. He's
a tough son of a bitch.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So
he's legit. He's somebody who you should look at Jake Hager as being one of the most legit stars in the show.
Yeah, he is. I do believe that he is. I forgot to mention him when we were talking about the roster of big guys.
Yeah, I forgot too. That's sad.
Yeah, that is sad.
Maybe I am contradicting myself there.
Yeah. So then the I don't know when will be the actual main event. It'd probably be Cody versus Jake Hager.
No, it's gonna be Kenny. No, because the only reason I say is because one thing AEW has been doing that I forgot to point out with the tag team division again. It's not just the AEW tag team championships; it's the AEW World Tag Team Championships. So this is a world title. This is a world title of them. And what he presents it as is being like Tony Khan on the podcast that he recently had for AEW Dynamite's podcast. He really presenting him as world champions. They're trying to present. This is the best tag team division in the world.
Absolutely is, and I think that it's definitely the right call to have them main event.
Yeah.
Again, we haven't said it actually. It's Hangman Page and Kenny Omega defending against best friends Chuck and Taylor.
That's huge. That's
Chuck
a huge match.
And Trent.
And you've been hearing us kind of complain recently, like what's going on with the tag team division? Why are when are they getting their shots?
Best friends. I love they're getting the shot. Best friends are great. We didn't talk about their little preview of the match during the show. Really fun, vignette they did here where they interview both teams.
Forget. Yeah, you forget what happened over the last few months.
Yeah, and it really shows how much both these teams, how much chemistry they have with each other. I mean, Chuck and Trent have great chemistry because they're really great friends.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they really are best friends, I believe. And Omega and Hangman Page have just been able to form that relationship, make it so unique that it's just so unique that I love them together. So this was a great setup for the match.
They're just so good. They're the best. They are two of the best superstars in all of wrestling.
I don't think they're going to lose, but I think this is going to be the match of night one.
I think so too. Trent Beretta is being pushed as also the last few months. This is kind
of just Trent now. Just Trent, no last name.
Oh yeah, just Trent. But he's a guy who had his first single great match was against Kenny Omega.
He's got a great look.
Great look.
Trent looks great. I like Chuck's look too.
They're the guys who stepped up. They're the ones who stepped up on this show. When there's tough times and people couldn't show up, these guys were like, no, we'll show up to everything. We'll do as many matches as you need. We just want to prove ourselves. And they lost a lot of matches to start off, but they also came out, proved themselves as being someone that you need to have us on the show, and they've earned this title. This is going to be a great tag team match.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Absolutely. Definitely looking forward to AEW.
And I love Kenny Omega and Hangman.
Oh, yeah. I think that they should retain, but I think it'll be a fantastic match also. So, that's our review of AEW, Dynamite, and NXT, Wednesday Night NXT, as well as our preview for
Night 1 of
Fyter Fest. Next week, it's going to be another big show. We'll have Night 1 reviews of Fyter Fest and Great American Bash.
Yep.
Next Thursday. We'll make sure to get out Thursday. And then also we'll preview Night 2 of Fyter Fest, I'm sure, at the end of the review next week. So, yeah, really, really good shows overall.
It's good to have Max here. We gave you guys a little bit of a longer episode because it's cool to have us together.
It's a mega episode of Just the Jobbers, which we're happy to do sometimes.
And featuring Tony Seek for the first time debuting.
First time debuting on a J3J Productions show.
So everybody out there, keep checking out all of our different YouTube videos out there. Subscribe to Max Zwak on YouTube. What is the actual? Is it just
It's at Max Walk, or it's the YouTube channel is just Max Walk.
Okay.
If you look up Binge Brothers episode 1, you should find it. It was just released this afternoon on Friday. So
this is just the beginning. We're growing.
That's our new podcast. We're going to be growing. We're going to continue to make content. Just the Jobbers isn't going anywhere. We're just adding more stuff for us to do. So, we're happy to be here.
Really excited, really proud, and we're really just.
Thanks for everybody that watches. Truthfully, it's great to have all the as a small audience we have.
Reaching out to us on Twitter, just the people we love. Interacting with all of you guys. We're gonna have to create one probably for the movie podcast. I feel like maybe the Twitter.
Possible.
Probably should, yeah. But yeah, hey, keep on the lookout for us. Thank you guys for everything, and we love you guys. Peace out. Keep watching Just Three Jobbers and enjoy wrestling, baby, because this is something, there's a lot of bad shit going on, and we're all able to have this at least. So,
amen. Thank you again.
Wow.